Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Maggie with Extraordinarily Nice, and we're back with another episode of Maggie Tries DIY. In today's episode, we'll be making this amazing book page wreath.
Ooh.
Now don't worry, the only book that was harmed in the process was this old Gone with the Wind. Now I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's a classic, that's a blasphemy. But I went to my local used bookstore and they actually were going to throw it out because it didn't have a cover. So I got it for just a couple pennies and I saved it from the trash heap. If you're interested in seeing how I turned the old couple penny book into this beautiful wreath, keep watching.
All right, so go ahead and grab your old book. Like I said, we're using Gone with the Wind for this. Now, with this wreath, I did go ahead and just rip out 72 pages. It's 144 pages technically, but of sheets, it's only 72. So go ahead and rip them out and separate. Okay, and cut those pages down into 4" by 4" squares. So start off by cutting off the edges and then square it down. I used a ruler for this part. I just found it to be a little easier to keep the squares a little bit more accurate. Grab a piece of foam board and trace your circle shape. I started trying to use a compass and it did not go well at all. So I switched to a 9" dinner plate and called it a day. Go ahead and cut it out. I used an X-Acto knife. I found it to be a little easier. Just make sure you're cutting on your cutting board because otherwise you will slice your table. All right, now it's time to actually form the leaves of your wreath. So go ahead and fold over the two opposite ends and staple at the bottom. I had a really hard time figuring this out, but once you get it, it makes sense and is really easy to repeat. Now just keep repeating this process until you have enough for your wreath. The size of your wreath will determine how many of these you actually need to make, so just keep going. All right, and then start gluing them in place. Now your first row, you'll leave a little bit of a space because your second row will be off center and will kind of overlap in the middle of each of your open spaces. So leave them spaced relatively equally with a little bit of a gap. And now you can see what I mean about that second row. You're going to repeat this staggering process all the way until you're almost to the middle. Now that you're almost to the center, grab some 3 by 3 squares, a little bit smaller, and do that last circle plus the middle in the 3 by 3. It makes a real gradual transition. You'll notice that I'm using the glue gun to make the 3 by 3s. It's only because it's so small that it's just easier than the big staples. If you have a small stapler, maybe it would work easier, but it doesn't work well with the big ones. You can make your hanger however you want. If you want to use a 3M strip, if you want to make an actual hanger like I'm doing, I just use twine, a little bit of hot glue, and some tape. This wreath is extremely light, so don't worry too much about your hanger. Just make sure it's secure. It's not holding a lot of weight. It's just a couple pieces of paper and some foam board. And that's it. I hope you love this wreath as much as I do. I actually had it in my Pinterest to try since 2009, so better late than never.
And that's everything for today's video. So if you enjoyed and you want to see more, subscribe down below. I'll be uploading new Maggie Tries DIYs every Friday. So that way you have all weekend to work on the projects if you want. And my next project I'm pretty excited for. It involves Shrinky Dinks. Thanks for watching.